around the problem persisting. And if the problem ever stops, all these people are going to be unemployed in the dubious warfare industrial complex, in the debt industrial complex. Now all these people are employed in the social welfare industrial complex. Do you see the madness? Satan is in control not only of America, but of the world. The minds of people starts in the mind and the hearts of people, and out of the overflow of their minds or heart, their words speak. And we can be evil. You've got to keep yourself in check. You've got to be knowledgeable. You've got to be responsible for gleaning your own knowledge. Like Jesus said, be as shrewd as serpents and as innocent as doves. We've got to go out there and we've got to get smart. We've got to get informed. We can't listen to anybody except God himself, the Holy Spirit of truth. This is all we can really rely on at the end of the day. Okay, this is the only one that has the wherewithal. This is the only one that can judge us or others. Or, this is it. This is God. It's getting on our own knees and making our own decisions, coming up with our own belief systems, our own philosophies, and sticking to our guns and saying, you know what? I'm sorry, you're wrong about this thing or that thing, and here's why. And here's how to define social economic progress, okay? If it doesn't create a rising tide of prosperity across the board, it's not working. I don't care what you call it, capitalism, crony capitalism, or whatever. And Alex Jones, you could point to how bad it is in these communist, socialist countries, what happened in Venezuela, and how communism is a miserable failure and all that. And albeit it's true, and you can still say America is still the greatest place in the world, look by evidence of all the people that want to move here and all this. But are you telling people to accept the movement of the Overton window? Okay, because we have regressed, man. Our standard of living has plummeted. So I don't know what you're talking about. The entitlement class is these thieves, the robber barons out there, the money printing class, and their political whores that signed off and illegitimately legitimized this nonsense. Okay, those are the decadent ones. That's the entitlement class. Okay, and when you talk about welfare, whose pocket does it end up in at the end of the day? People on food stamps, people on Section 8 housing. Whose pocket does it end? Rich dad's pocket. Okay, the industry has a subsidy, the food industry. We know that those subsidies have been going on for a long time. They subsidize farmers and all this crap, and a lot of people think it's been a really good thing to make sure we got plenty of supply of food out there. So, I mean, let's consider whose pockets it's ending up in at the end of the day, okay? Before you start condemning the average welfare worker, the average welfare recipient out there, okay, that's been made poor, because you're always explaining that to people about the Cloward and Piven strategy, how they want us poor, how they're deliberately doing it. Well, what better way to do it than through the currency debasement, by raising your cost of living, by raising your taxes. Okay, so it's not hard to understand, but be consistent, man. Be clear with your message. Let's go for the jugular. Let's go for the kingpins. Who are they? It's the money printing class in collusion with the political class. And those two should be put in a room to figure out how they're going to pay off this $20 trillion national debt, because it's illegitimate. Okay, and yes, we should default. I did not sign off on it. As neither did 90+% of the American people, as I learned from the Alex Jones show. Okay? And you guys vet your facts, I know, so I can rely on being able to quote you accurately. When I do a little bit of my own investigation, and I say, yes, that's true. The vast majority of Americans, it's very safe to say, did not want that. They knew intuitively that capitalism required this market correction. And yet it goes through. So let's be clear about how the poverty, this desperate poverty, has been created. Don't blame the desperately poor and those that just want to drop out. They can't take it psychologically. Blame correctly. If you're going to judge correctly. Judge correctly and be consistent. Okay, that's about all I have to say about that. But like I said, I respect and admire the crap out of the courage and bravery of all these media people, these prominent media people like Alex Jones. Believe me, Alex, I love you, man, and I respect you immensely. And all of your reporters. Okay, let me be very clear. Okay, because it takes a lot of guts, and I myself don't like confrontation. When I was younger, I used to. But I really don't think I have the constitution. Who knows what's going to happen at some point later in my life. Maybe I'll gain more prowess, whatever the term is. I can't think of exactly the term. I'm looking for more etiquette, whatever it takes to get out there and keep my cool. Because if I'm going to do interviews, I mean, just exposing people, you don't need to get radical. You don't need to be calling names, teasing, taunting, and all this stuff. I mean, they're going to hate you just because. I mean, you can be as cool as a cucumber and as earnest and sincere about just finding out the facts from people you're interviewing, or but you know, if you're exposing their evil, they're going to hate you. They're going to say, "Oh, you're not on my side," obviously by these questions you're asking. So that's enough right there to get people to hate you. I mean, what did Jesus do to get people to hate him? Okay, he was anti-establishment. He didn't like the money masters, okay, the money changers as they were called in those days. He knew that they were filled with trickery and deceit. They were just about oppressing and tyrannizing the people through raising their cost of living. Big fat leeches. He knew that. The money masters, these controllers, he knew this was Satan's ambrosia. This is how Satan was working through the heart and mind of men. Wow, this concentrated power. How cool a theory is that? How cool of an idea and precept is that? That's what I want. I just want money, more money. I don't care. Conscience, pooey. Who cares about that, man? No. Who cares about God? God, you know, you're a lame-o, whatever. You know, you're stupid. You're mean. So, you know, they rationalize. That's what people can do. That's in all of us, that ability to do that. Is to be evil. Basically, that's it, to be Satan's friend instead of God's friend. And we can only serve one master. And this money has gotten way too far. This control over the population, man. This earth belongs to everybody. So if you want to say, hey, no welfare for anybody, fine. But then I'm going to go out and I'm going to get some land, okay, because God said I can do that, okay, government land, whose land is government land, and I'm going to sit my butt down and I'm going to build myself a house. And I'm going to trade. I'm going to barter, okay? I'm going to do what I have to do to survive. God gave me the wherewithal to do that. It didn't come from a man. So that's the way it's got to be. Understand, folks, okay, that if it's okay for anybody to be born with a silver spoon in their mouth, then it's okay for everybody to be born with a silver spoon in their mouth. And then what Victor Hugo said has no relevance, that, you know, prosperity makes monsters and adversity makes men. Because as we all know, poverty is one of the primary forms of adversity in our culture. I mean, that's it. And what gets more adverse than being poor and struggling? Okay, so that's a matter of fact. You know, into some of these current events today. I watched an episode of Forensic Files recently, and this guy, he was a Satan worshiper, and he cut up his wife, his beloved, and the mother of his child, and in a fit of rage, I guess. But the investigators were just appalled at how this guy could do this. That he just they just went into great detail about what he had done. But you know, these people and ISIS, the ISIS types, and the New World Order cabal, they're all, you know, it's the same kind of mentality. They're all Satan worshipers. They've all abandoned their conscience. Satanists, Luciferians, whatever, whether winning or not, okay? Because some of these people say, no, Allah, and all this, but no, they don't know. You're wrong. You're not serving Allah. You're not serving God by cutting off the heads of Christians. Believe me, okay? So that's a bunch of nonsense. But I respect ISIS more than I respect the New World Order cabal, because the New World Order cabal is sneaky, and the way they do things is very deceptive and cunning and underhanded. But ISIS is straight up. They'll tell you, yes, you're an infidel, you don't believe the way I believe, and so you're worthy to have your head cut off. So you understand why I have more respect for ISIS, which is virtually zero. I have no respect for terrorism, any kind of mad, offensive violence against people you don't even know, that didn't even do anything to you. You don't know who the hell they are. And I have no respect for these people. But look at the New World Order cabal and all these people, the weather change alarmists that, you know, that blame humans. Okay, it's the same bunch because it's a big cabal. Remember, it's the trillionaires you never hear of. You know, the press will talk about the multi-billionaires all day, but they never talk about the people that have the copyright to the money, will they? And the political classes right in the pocket, they give themselves raises, raising your cost of living, but theirs is better. You understand? It's all about looking after old number one, and that permeates our society. It's a social Darwinian thing where it's dog eat dog. It's cutthroat. It's a rat race. And it's not okay by any stretch of the imagination. And I want nothing to do with it. And I hope you want nothing to do with it. And all you do is set out to expose it and pull people out of the darkness and into the light of